I'm Max. I've got some special geckos that come out at night. Ever since I was a kid, I've been obsessed with reptiles, amphibians, and ectotherms. So stay tuned. It's going to be a goodie. I'm trying to bond with this gecko, Stump. And don't worry, no geckos were harmed in the making of this video. He's just a bit silly. This is Stumpy. He's a bit plump. He's a Rare Kawa gecko of New Zealand. Now the bonding process has started with just a lot of handling and spending time with him. Now I know he's nocturnal and he's terrestrial, but he does come out during the day. And when he does, I try and hang out with him. I try and handle him. Try to explore and observe his behavior. He's an awesome little guy, endemic to New Zealand. We live in a beautiful country, New Zealand. Beautiful landscapes, amazing environments, harsh climates, amazing greenery, incredible wood flows. And these animals, these geckos, thrive and survive in these epic climates. Extreme weather gradients, an amazing capacity to live in this part of the world. As night falls, everything changes in this environment. The lights turn off, the geckos come out. So every night I would go out and I would watch them to see what they're up to. Loves the camera, or maybe he's just confused, but they're hunting. You see, I've just put in a lot of flies, and this is where they do the majority of their hunting. They will come out during the day, but the Rare Kawa gecko is an opportunist hunter. Being terrestrial, it's not a great climber, so it will lunge around and look for prey. As you can see, this is Stump once again, hunting, trying to catch a fly, trying to feed his belly, and on to the next one. So I try and spot them during the day as much as possible, but they're super skittish. Only Stump hangs around, usually at the top of the terrarium waiting for me, of course. So I try to let them out with flies, and I actually realized how clumsy of a hunter they really are. I mean, seriously, all these attempts for this one fly, I'm surprised this guy doesn't starve. As night falls, this is where things get interesting. This is where the clumsy terrestrial little gecko comes to life. The Rare Kawa gecko. I've said this earlier, I'll say it again. An amazing endemic terrestrial gecko of New Zealand. Watching Stump climb around keeps me entertained for hours. Now, believe it or not, there are 4 Rare Kawa geckos in this enclosure. It's a glass terrarium with a UVB light and an LED light for the plants. It's fully naturally scaped with New Zealand elements. What I mean by New Zealand elements, panga logs, small New Zealand ferns and New Zealand moss. And I try feed them local bugs, things that they will encounter in the wild. Now when I say I've got 4 others in here, Stump is the most prominent. The other 3 I'll spot at night if I'm lucky, but they scatter very quickly. But enjoy Stump for what he is. An amazing animal who just got a little sprinkle. He's a thirsty little fella. But a bit more about me and my passion. So with New Zealand geckos, you can't actually take them out of the wild. You have to get them from other keepers and you have to have a permit to keep them in New Zealand. And I think that makes it a especially unique experience. I'm very honoured to keep these and I'm very fortunate to have these guys in captivity. So why the Rare Kawa gecko? Well, firstly, I think they're epic animals. I think they're super cool, their coloration, their eyes, as you can see, they've got these golden eyes, these black spots, these awesome patterns. Being terrestrial, they have their little unique terrestrial traits. Most of our geckos, or a lot of our geckos, are arboreal. We do have a lot of terrestrial species, but I think with their large toes, their awesome colorations, they're just super dope specimens. Now I'm Max, as I said at the beginning. I've kept animals my whole life, mainly reptiles, amphibians, that space. But these guys I always come back to. I always come back to geckos, especially our native species. We have some of the most amazing and unique geckos in the world, and we're super lucky to have them here and be able to live with them in the same country. This is Greg. He's a New Zealand forest gecko. Different species, and he's an arboreal species, also nocturnal, but I do have other geckos, not just the Rokawa. Now, Greg lives in an outdoor enclosure. I don't know why, I just built him an outdoor enclosure and he loves it. And he's flourishing and he's growing. Now, this is part of my weekly routine. I go out and I find them bugs in the garden, because this is what they eat in the wild. Maybe not necessarily all of these bugs, but I find isopods, beetles, spiders, anything I can wrangle, because I like to give the Royal Kawas a mixed variety. So what else can I tell you about these amazing ground-dwelling dragons that live in the bottom of the world? Well, simply that. They're unique and only exist in this part of the world. So during the day when Stump is about, he's a bit of a weirdo, but I love him for it. He'll be hunting his flies, his isopods, and the others will be sleeping or dormant until night falls. I give him one-winged flies because they're clumsy hunters, they really are. Half the time I'm surprised he even gets them. But with a little bit of help from me, a bit of love and care, he fills up quite nicely. And that's all that matters to me. As long as he's happy, he's full, he's thriving. I'm Max. I hope you enjoy my content. I'm just here to entertain and give you a taste into my life and my passions, and some incredible animals. I hope you can appreciate the beauty of these animals, the uniqueness,